Let me begin with a story. A story of a young man. Young man from Detroit, Michigan. He left, boarded a ship, maybe in New Orleans or San Francisco, landed in Philippine shores. This young man from Detroit somehow found himself as a paymaster of a crew and a gang. They built a road up to a certain place. After the road was built and they reached that certain place, the young man did not leave. Found somebody from another place. And they made a home in that certain place where they built a road to. And from then, a daughter was born. In this place. And that young man, whose name was John Joseph Murphy. That crew, the leader of that crew, was a person, a colonel surnamed Cannon. The road they built is what is known as Cannon Road. And the place, the end of the place they built the road to is our Baguio. That daughter, her name was Josephine. Josephine Murphy. Born, raised in this place, Baguio. She was called the Madonna of the Mountains. She was a very beautiful lady. And looking at all the beautiful Baguio bells tonight, it is no wonder that a young man from Tarlac, the town of Paniki, braved every week the hard travel to Baguio just to win the heart of that young girl. As probably all of you did, to win the hearts of your Baguio bells. Now, it is the privilege and honor of a grandson of that lady to be here in front of you today. In this magical place called Baguio, it is indeed a place of magic, a place of beauty, a place of talent, a place of peace, a place of progress where people pick themselves up after hard times confront them. And we should keep it that way. But we are not here tonight to talk about Baguio alone. We're here to talk about the Rotary. And we're here probably to talk about our country. Because indeed, we have 7,107 magical places. Magical people. Rich human resources. Beautiful tourist spots. Potentials for agriculture. Agricultural leadership and productivity. Industrialization. Leaders of the mind. But why is it perhaps that it does not happen so? What is that missing link? That missing one? That missing ingredient which makes these disparate spots and items of magic not meld together as one to make a powerful show which will influence not merely our own people but the rest of the world. We can surmise perhaps that maybe it is the lack of structures, institutions carefully thought of that will bring out the best in all of us. Institutions of public and private governance that motivate good behavior and shun the bad. Institutions which will bring together our different and disparate cultures in an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding, an atmosphere of encouragement of diverse cultures and diverse beliefs, under the framework, though, of enforcement in case that atmosphere of mutual respect, mutual tolerance is not met. Perhaps also it is a failure to bring to light our true assumptions of what we are, what we want our country to be, and what we need to do in order to motivate us for good behavior. Adequate remuneration, perhaps, and adequate compensation is such an issue. A failure, perhaps, to look forward, but merely look backward and prevented the past from recurring. And I'm talking about our institutions of public governance, our Constitution, perhaps, and our laws. And perhaps we need to re-examine these in a transparent, fair, and politically acceptable process, acceptable to all, where a debate may be made extensively and in public, in order for us to place a proper foundation for our growth. Perhaps, too, another reason would be our failure to grasp the need to be technologically competent in this day and age, to be capable of absorbing information and processing it, not merely to use it today, but to be ahead and make those systems of processes for tomorrow. Perhaps, too, it is the failure of a political system to provide synergy, which means the sum of the whole is worth more than the mere arithmetic sum of the parts. Perhaps, too, it is a failure of each of us to make our political voices heard, and saying that politics is for the politicians alone. But there is an opportunity. You have such an opportunity. You have organized yourselves, albeit in the private sector. Of course, we see the Rotary outreach programs. We see the Rotary being relevant to the community. But right now, what our country needs is the voice, particularly of learned people with no agenda, who pay their taxes, who help build this country. That voice needs to be heard. And this is one of the organizations where that voice can be most vividly, most loudly given. It is not a question of partisan politics, but a question of institution building, of a country which we need not merely to survive, but bring tomorrow. To tomorrow. To lead. Perhaps, too, another suggestion. Since we are in the Cordilleras, maybe we can learn a lesson. Political leaders can learn a lesson from one of the institutions of this most special place. When people have problems in this area, the leaders come together in the bodong. We call each other together, agtutungtungan tayo, tapnoy tikas tamatarimaan dagijay parparikot tayo. In an atmosphere of dialogue where each one participates through the moral force and moral suasion of the community. A collective decision is made, and even the most bitter of enemies must follow. We need to have a national political bodong for all the leaders of the contending political factions to be brought together and say, this is the arena of combat. You must not go beyond this. And after combat is over, the Badong must say, you must unite. Next year, according to economists, is a potential growth year once again. We have an opportunity to get on the bus to prosperity and progress once again. However, if our political